What is the Singapore spirit? It's a very relevant question in a globalized world as Singapore becomes more cosmopolitan and receives more guests and visitors every year. We are proud of our Asian cultures and heritage, the Chinese, the Indians, the Malays, and the others. And we want to keep this heritage alive and keep this Asian identity. But this Singapore spirit is not based on a common race or language or religion. It's based on deeper things which we share. Shared values, like multiracialism or meritocracy, or respect for every talent. Shared loyalty and commitment to Singapore. Shared responsibility for each other and pride in what we've done together. Shared memories as well as dreams and aspirations. It is the determination that makes us press on when things are tough, like in the recession last year. That the trust that keeps us together when forces try to pull us apart, like when we encountered extremist terrorism after 9/11. It's a competence and a quiet pride and discipline that makes sure that things go right, like when we hosted the YOG. It's a confidence that we will prevail come what may. It's the spirit in each of us which makes Singapore work the way it does and which makes Singaporeans special. Mr. Rajaratnam long ago drafted the National Pledge, and he wrote, "Being a Singaporean is not a matter of ancestry. It's conviction and choice." We've got to maintain a Singaporean core in our society, which is stiffened by the Singapore spirit. And around this core, we can gather talent and resources and use them to build a better Singapore. As the IT people say, we want to keep an open architecture. The kernel must be protected. Make sure no viruses come in and make it malfunction. But the applications, the peripheral software, can be adapted, extended as circumstances change, as new needs arise, so that we are always current and up to date and always with the latest version. And we have to pass this spirit on to the next generation so that they have the same conviction and make the right choices for themselves through the schools, but also many other activities. Through community involvement, for example, pursuing passionate causes, tackling daunting challenges, and trying out many new things to learn about themselves, to discover their own abilities, and to gain confidence and maturity. We do our best to give our youth such exposure. We encourage them to care for the less fortunate and develop a social conscience, like these students are doing. These are young NTUC visiting a senior's home, obviously making a connection with the senior citizens. Or protecting the environment. These kids are at Tanjung Cik Jawa doing some work, rescuing some horseshoe crabs. You see a few horseshoe crabs down here in good health. They saw us looking at them. And support youth to pursue diverse passions too, sports and social activities, like the PAYM cheerleaders group. And if this is not exciting enough for you, you can do extreme sports at the Extreme Skate Park at the East Coast Park. I'm very happy that many of our youths are also venturing abroad and they're volunteering in countries all around us. They go with community groups, religious groups, with Mercy Relief, with the Youth Expedition Project, with the Singapore International Foundation. They do all kinds of things, disaster relief, medical care, giving tuition. Here's one young man who's doing something interesting, Mr. Alvin Yap. He's hearing impaired. He graduated from NUS. He works in the publishing industry, but he's active as a volunteer. So this year, he went on SIF's Singapore Volunteers Overseas Program. He went to Dili, which is in Timor-Leste, and he's there for a year teaching deaf children and some adults proper sign language, because the kids didn't grow up with proper sign language, and he needs to teach them the signs and the vocabulary and the grammar and the proper way to communicate. And he's also a role model and an inspiration to the kids, as well as some adults. So here's Alvin with his class, that's him there, and they're saying hello to us.
Happy birthday, Singapore!
Alvin is here with us tonight. He's on a short break in Singapore. I think he's up there. And he'll soon be back to Timor-Leste again. Welcome, Alvin. The thing we cannot do for the youth, unfortunately, is purposely to create hard times to toughen you up. In fact, we've tried our best to do the opposite, to create a stable and favorable cocoon for Singaporeans to grow up in, and young people to grow up in. Last year's financial crisis might have been a major test, but we emerged more quickly than expected. But the world is still a dangerous place. Nobody can say for the next 50 years it'll be as stable, as peaceful, as prosperous as the last 50 years. Nobody can tell what it will bring. Dr. Goh Keng Swee worried about this problem. Before he retired in 1984, he made a speech where he talked about many things, but amongst them he addressed this issue. And I looked up the archives and I found the tape, and let's hear him in his own voice.
A new generation is emerging. This generation has never experienced hardship. Some of my colleagues, when making this statement, seems to imply that the new generation has thereby committed some gross misdemeanor. And of course, this is not true.
Only Dr. Goh will say gross misdemeanor. But the new generation that Dr. Goh was talking about is not today's young people. It's 1984's young people. That means us when we were young. But in the quarter century since Dr. Goh spoke, I think Singapore has not done too badly. And now my generation is similarly concerned about today's young people. It's no fault for anyone not to have experienced hard times. It is not any misdemeanor at all. There will be challenges and crises enough in your lifetimes, and we will prepare you the best you can and hope that the first time you encounter a real crisis, you will survive the baptism of fire, emerge toughened, and so will Singapore.